Hey everyone, I'm Abram Hunter, and I want to share with you my painting, Leap of Faith. A few years ago, I did a painting for my grandmother for her birthday, and it was titled Never Forsaken. And the image was of Jesus on a stormy sea with his arms stretched open. And it was from Peter's perspective of Jesus walking on the water. And you were supposed to place yourself as Peter looking towards Jesus. Well, everyone loved it, but I felt like I hadn't told the complete story of Jesus walking on the water. And so I wanted to revisit the subject again, and this time show Peter and the disciples. And so that's what I've done with Leap of Faith. We've opened up the sky so you can see just how dramatic and scary. It looks like the sky almost looks like claws trying to come down and snatch the ship almost. You know, it just shows all the waves are big, and it just shows all the things in life that can distract us and scare us, and how scary life can really be, you know. So in the painting, I used Mark's version of the Gospels, and this is one of my favorite parts because I'm a little bit of a nerd. In the Gospels, it says that Jesus was walking, he told the disciples to go to the other side and that he would meet them there. And that they were struggling with the waves, and he was walking on the water and would have passed them by, but they called out to him. And I thought, I've never heard that, but it's Mark's version of it. And so he was going to the other side to meet them, and he was passing them by actually. So you see, Jesus is actually kind of almost quartered because he's changed his direction because Peter stepped out of the boat. That was just like my little nod to the best historical accuracy I could do. The part of it that I really put a lot of the things I've learned about faith into the painting is that the part of it that means a lot to me is what I was trying to say is about the disciples. So the disciples, you can see one of the disciples is trying to save the nets, and the nets was their livelihood, their work. And so that's symbolic of us whenever we're trying to save, maybe clinging onto a job or clinging onto finances or money. That could even symbolize greed even. It's keeping us from walking in faith whenever Jesus has said, come to me, you know, and come across the waves to me. These disciples are yanking and pulling on the rudder as hard as they can to change the direction of the ship. So I'm a little bit of a boater, and whenever you're encountering strong waves, you sail into them, because you can actually take a tsunami wave if you catch it early on by sailing over it. If you take it broadside, it'll scoop you right over. But in fear, what we do is when we see problems, sometimes we get anxious and we want to tuck tail and run, which is the worst thing you can do. So what they're doing is they're yanking and pulling on the rudder to take them away from the waves. But what's happening is the waves are causing the boat to fill with water, and it's causing the boat to list to the left. So what that shows is whenever we try to change the direction of our lives, whenever it's not rooted in faith, we can capsize just out of our own fear. These disciples are trying to cling and save the sails that are already gone. Sometimes we're dealing with emotional baggage or things in our souls, you know, or relationships that we don't need to cling to. But we're still like clinging to them even though they're tattered and they're gone. And what they're doing is they're distracting us from Jesus. He has his arms open for us. And then one of my favorite parts is Peter is stepping out, and this disciple, who could be Andrew, maybe his best friend, is pulling him back in. Maybe that's his best friend, and he's worried that Peter's going to drown. He's probably not trying to keep him from Jesus. He's probably just trying to keep him from the waves, showing you that sometimes your best friend might try to keep you from jumping out in faith. Like what if God's called you to do something like I don't know, start a new business or go on a long road trip or something, I don't know. And then people are saying, no, don't do that. It's scary, you know? There's all kinds of practical applications that people sometimes that love you the most will try to pull you back just out of fear. They don't want to see you fail, you know. But no, you've got to be like Peter and go towards Jesus. Another thing is that all the disciples, if you've watched their body language, they've all got tense shoulders. Peter and Jesus are the only ones with relaxed shoulders because they've surrendered in faith. all these disciples are just filled with anxiety because they're worried, they're confused, and they're trying to micromanage what's going on in their lives. So the rays of light are coming, are as if God the Father is blessing or showing His favor on both Peter and Jesus equally for letting go in faith. They both are having the power to walk on water by letting go and having faith. At that point in Peter's life, he had the same miracle-working powers as Jesus did because he just let go and let God take over. So that's my artist notes on this painting, and I hope you all enjoy it, and I hope the painting means a lot to you, and I hope it inspires you to leap out in faith in whatever you feel inspired to do. God bless you.